LLMs are increasingly relying on websites in order to actually fulfill user requests. Website code is really meant for delivering engaging experiences to our users, not LLMs. But what this means really is that a lot of the stuff that is in HTML and CSS and JavaScript is actually just getting in the way of the LLM doing the job that it needs to be doing. And when I say this gets in the way, I really mean it gets in the way. All of these extra characters can actually end up filling the LLM's context window, which means that it won't be able to understand the entirety of the website and ultimately won't be able to deliver the best quality results to users, maybe to your users if you're even building an LLM-based application. This is a very different problem to what we've basically had for the last 20 years or so, where we've been doing search engine optimization in order to help search engines such as Google or Bing understand our websites and be able to process them and show them to our users as high up in the rankings as possible. But this is a completely different paradigm. So the question now is, what do we do about LLMs that need to also be able to discover our content on our websites? In other words, how do we prepare our websites for the age of AI agents and just more broadly like LLM-based applications? This is where llms.txt comes into play. This isn't a silver bullet that's going to solve all your problems, and it's not necessarily a standard as of yet. It's really a proposal that is building up steam amongst the web development community as well as the AI agent community. We're essentially in a similar way to how we have robots.txt that we place at our domain name, example.com/robots.txt. We're also now seeing more and more websites place a example.com/llms.txt, which will help LLMs understand how they're supposed to interact with our website, where they can find the information, what our website's about, so on and so forth. This is really helpful because it allows us to remove all of the nonsense that an LLM does not need or frankly doesn't want, such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so on, whatever else there may be. And basically just allows us to display a very easy to understand or easy for the LLM to understand content that explains everything and covers everything it might need to cover in order for the LLM to, fulfill the user's request. So if this file is made available, then the LLM will be able to use the contents of this file instead of having to go to your actual website, parse it, understand it, add it to its context window, and then navigate all of the pages that it finds as a result of looking at the homepage or whatever page it's told to start with. So instead, this is how it would work. To start with, we're going to have a number of sections throughout this file that are basically going to each do a specific thing in order to help the LLM understand what the website is about, what it can do here, what the information is that we provide or don't provide, maybe even, and ultimately how it can use the contents of this website in order to fulfill whatever request it needs to. So the sections are, number one, even though it's .txt, it's actually going to be using Markdown language. So just keep that in mind as you go through this. And you can even link Markdown files with everything on your site inside of this llms.txt so that the LLM will be able to navigate to those other files and look at the full contents of your website. The first section we're going to have is going to be an H1 header with the title of your website or of the project that you're making this for. Next, we're going to have a short description or summary of the website. So you might think of this in terms of when you're on a search engine's result page, you might see the description that comes up underneath that link. This might be something that you would put there. It's just a really short and sweet description of what the LLM can find at this webpage. Next, you can have any kinds of optional details that you want, but you do want to keep this overall pretty short and sweet. Therefore, you can choose to omit this, additional details sections, or you can include it. It's really up to you and what you think is best suited for the website or the project that you're trying to implement this for. You can have anywhere from 0 to N number of detailed paragraphs or detailed links or whatever it is. Then below that, you'll have a list of 0 or more links that basically allow the LLM to go in different directions to find other pieces of information on your site. You might send them to different pieces of documentation that you have, or you might allow them to find, the entirety of your website, maybe all of the contents of your website that don't include HTML or something like that. Think of this as really a summarization card that acts as the central point for the LLM to learn about overall what your website is, but then go and navigate to different pieces of content depending on what it's trying to do. So these links would be the URL followed by a colon and then a description of the actual link and what it is and what the LLM can find there. And it can choose whether or not it wants to navigate itself to that link. As things like Google's AI mode, and even I've heard that Safari, so Apple is working on their own version of AI mode for Safari. As these things start to become more and more commonplace, and as different people actually start to use the AI mode of these tools to find what they're looking for more and more, as opposed to using the traditional or what we have today, which are just search engine results page. I think that doing this kind of thing will become more and more important. So if you haven't already, I would definitely think about doing this, because you'll definitely be providing the best experience to your users by implementing this. If you're a business, you definitely want to be doing this. And if you need help with it, reach out to me, because I do freelancing work and I can help you with that if you're interested. But this wasn't really an ad for that. This was more so just to say that I think we're going to start experiencing a massive shift where instead of SEO, we're going to have something like, I've been calling it OFA, or optimized for agents. That'd be really cool if that caught on. So if you like that acronym, it's not really an acronym, is it? Yeah. I think that'd be really cool if that caught on, OFA, optimized for agents. So if you like that one, definitely feel free to spread that around to your friends. I think that'd be pretty cool if it took off. But either way, businesses are really going to have to start thinking about this one. And yeah, so if you want to learn more about AI agents, both building them as well as how to, let's say, run a business on them, how to stay up to date with the news and stuff like that as far as AI agents go, definitely give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, because I make those kinds of videos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.